Have you ever wondered why 95% of Australia is practically empty? It's a vast land, teeming with wildlife, breathtaking landscapes, and unique ecosystems. So, why are most Australians packed into just a few coastal cities? Let's dive into the fascinating reasons behind this phenomenon. Australia, a continent of extremes. With over 7.6 million square kilometers, it's the sixth largest country in the world. Yet, nearly 90% of its population is crammed into just a handful of urban areas along the coast. To understand why, we need to explore Australia's geography, history, and climate. The Outback, which makes up the majority of the landmass, is a place of stark contrasts. By day, temperatures can soar well above 40 degrees Celsius, and at night, they can plummet to near freezing. The land is unforgiving, with vast stretches of desert interrupted only by rugged ranges and sparse vegetation. Rainfall is infrequent and unpredictable, making farming and water storage a constant challenge. Despite these conditions, the Outback holds an allure of mystery and rugged beauty, drawing adventurers and artists alike to capture its essence. But survival here requires more than just endurance. Indigenous Australians have lived in harmony with this landscape for tens of thousands of years. They developed intricate knowledge of the land, using it to find food, water, and shelter in an environment where many would see only barrenness. Their connection to the land is not just practical, but deeply spiritual, woven into stories, songs, and art that tell of a profound relationship with the earth. First, there's the sheer harshness of the Australian outback. This isn't your typical countryside. We're talking about vast, arid deserts stretching as far as the eye can see, blistering temperatures during the day, and bone-chilling cold at night. The interior, known as the Red Centre, is dominated by iconic deserts like the Simpson, Gibson, and Great Victoria. Rainfall here is not only scarce, but highly unpredictable, leading to prolonged droughts that can last for years. Such harsh conditions make agriculture nearly impossible and water a precious commodity. But the challenges don't end with the climate. The soil in these regions is often nutrient-poor and laden with salt, further complicating any attempts to cultivate crops. Add to this the remoteness of the area, with some settlements hundreds of kilometers apart, and it's clear why life here is not for the faint of heart. Roads are few and far between, and supply chains depend on small aircraft or long, arduous truck journeys over rugged terrain. Despite all this, the Outback is far from lifeless. It is home to unique flora and fauna that have adapted to these extreme conditions. Plants like spinifex grass and desert oaks thrive where others cannot, while animals such as dingoes, emus, and desert reptiles have evolved ingenious ways to survive. For the Indigenous Australians who have called this land home for tens of thousands of years, the Outback is not inhospitable, but a place of deep knowledge and spiritual significance. They see the land as a living entity, with waterholes, rock formations, and tracks etched with stories passed down through generations. This vast interior may not be bustling with people, but it is alive with resilience and history, offering a stark yet awe-inspiring contrast to Australia's lively coastal cities. But it's not just the climate. Australia's history plays a big role too. When European settlers arrived in the late 18th century, they naturally gravitated toward the fertile coastal regions. These areas offered access to fresh water, arable land, and a more temperate climate, perfect for farming and trade. Coastal locations also provided easy access to shipping routes, enabling settlers to establish vital connections with other colonies and the rest of the world. Cities like Sydney and Melbourne grew rapidly into economic hubs, attracting workers, entrepreneurs, and families who sought stability and opportunity. Meanwhile, the interior, with its challenging environment and lack of immediate resources, remained largely untouched. Efforts to explore and settle the Outback often ended in hardship, reinforcing the perception of the coast as the ideal place to live and thrive. Over time, this coastal focus shaped the nation's infrastructure, with railways, roads, and ports, all centered around these urban areas. The legacy of this settlement pattern is still evident today, as Australia's population remains heavily concentrated along its stunning coastline, leaving the vast interior as a land of mystery and sparse habitation. Then there's the question of infrastructure. Building roads, railways, and services across such a vast, inhospitable terrain is no small feat. The sheer size of Australia's interior means that even connecting small, remote communities requires immense resources and planning. Roads must stretch for hundreds of kilometers through barren landscapes, often requiring maintenance after seasonal floods or erosion from harsh winds. Railways, too, face significant hurdles. The famous Gone Railway, which connects Adelaide to Darwin, took decades to complete and stands as a testament to the engineering challenges posed by the Outback's rugged terrain. Building such infrastructure in extreme heat, with limited access to water and supplies, has often proven prohibitively expensive and logistically complex. Even today, much of the Outback remains remote and difficult to access. Small towns rely on supply trucks that journey for days, or planes that deliver essential goods to areas unreachable by road. Internet and phone connectivity can be patchy or non-existent in many places, further isolating these communities from the conveniences of urban life. Yet, this very isolation has preserved the wild beauty of the Outback. Without the heavy imprint of urban development, much of the landscape remains pristine, offering visitors a glimpse into a world untouched by modern industry. This balance between maintaining the natural integrity of the land and improving access and infrastructure continues to challenge policymakers and planners. The lack of large-scale development in the interior isn't just a matter of feasibility, it's also a question of priorities. For a population that overwhelmingly resides along the coasts, investing in remote regions may seem less critical compared to addressing urban infrastructure needs. As a result, the Outback remains a largely untamed frontier, a place where nature reigns supreme and human presence is sparse but enduring. And let's not forget the lure of the coast. Australia boasts some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, stretching for thousands of kilometers, from the golden sands of Bondi Beach to the pristine shores of the Whitsundays. These natural attractions are more than just picturesque. They provide recreation, tourism, and a sense of community for millions. Beyond their aesthetic appeal, coastal cities like Sydney, Brisbane, and Perth offer vibrant lifestyles filled with cultural festivals, world-class dining, and bustling markets. The temperate climate along the coasts means residents enjoy warm summers and mild winters, a stark contrast to the extreme conditions of the interior. This makes outdoor activities like surfing, swimming, and beachside barbecues a part of everyday life. Economically, the coasts are the lifeblood of the nation. Major ports facilitate trade, while industries like fishing and tourism thrive along the water's edge. These urban hubs also attract international immigrants, drawn by job opportunities, educational institutions, and the promise of a high quality of life. As a result, over 2/3 of Australians live within 50 kilometers of the sea, making the coast not just a place to live, but a cornerstone of Australian identity. But the empty parts of Australia aren't really empty. The Outback is home to rich indigenous cultures that have thrived here for tens of thousands of years. These communities possess a profound connection to the land, expressed through intricate art, music, and ceremonies. Sites like Uluru and Kata Tjuta aren't just breathtaking natural wonders. They're sacred spaces with stories that stretch back to the Dreamtime, offering a window into one of the world's oldest living cultures. Beyond its cultural significance, the Outback is a treasure trove of natural beauty and biodiversity. Iconic landscapes like the Kimberley region, with its ancient gorges and waterfalls, and the expansive Nullarbor Plain, create a tapestry of environments that captivate all who visit. These areas are home to an array of wildlife found nowhere else on Earth. Kangaroos and emus roam the plains, while koalas, though more common in eastern forests, symbolize Australia's unique fauna. Meanwhile, less-known creatures like thorny devils and bilbies have adapted to the harsh desert conditions, showcasing nature's resilience. The Outback's ecosystems play a crucial role in maintaining global biodiversity. From the hardy spinifex grass that stabilizes the soil, to the waterholes that support migrating birds, every element contributes to a delicate balance. Scientists and conservationists often focus their efforts here to protect these unique habitats from the pressures of climate change and human activity. Despite its sparse population, the Outback hums with life, human animal, and spiritual. It's a place that invites reflection and exploration, offering an escape from the fast pace of modern life and a chance to connect with something timeless and profound. So while 95% of Australia might seem empty at first glance, it's a land full of stories, challenges, and untamed beauty. The Outback remains a symbol of resilience and a testament to the incredible diversity of this unique continent. Australia, a land of extremes, where most people choose the coast, but the heart of the country beats in its vast open spaces. What would you choose? The bustling city or the serene Outback?